Hello, Craig
No,
and
I,
Gamebot. What did Pepper try to do?
he was pouncing like he was gonna jump off of my shelf.
Oh, I thought you kicked him out. What a baby. Um, Last time on Well Dressed Bones, our players, after trying to help with the remnant situation and maybe making things worse, who knows? Some remnants did escape. Um, they were accused of helping the remnants and undermining the temple, as well as the murder of two of the high clerics. The only way to fully expunge this crime is for one of them, specifically Cal, to pass the test to become the new high cleric, after which essentially she will have the power to pardon herself and the rest of the party, as it is both a political appointment and a religious appointment. Um, Being in the death realm for part of the test has been no fun, and in fact very bad, as they have been hiking through dangerous terrains full of crazed shadow creatures, and Cal has been rapidly losing strength and cohesion as the spell that was binding her soul to her body has been severed with the death of the cleric who was helping her cross in the ceremony by the Bargist, who later hunted them through the realm of death. As that battle commenced, Cal was able to escape, running ahead until the second of the four sanctuaries, the safe places in which you can rest and recover a little bit. Um, May almost died, but at the last moment was saved by seemingly Jonas's influence on the Bargist, or whoever is controlling it, deciding to keep her alive, if in a very precarious state. You know, no spell points, limited health, in death, losing time to unconsciousness, yada yada yada, and was sort of left behind. Fish and carrying Kekino. No, not carrying Kekino. Cal has Kekino. Um, you got Kekino back?
Cal told Kekino to go back to the real world.
That's right.
Ekino
The
is
way,
currently not present in the death realm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um, Well, Fish, trying to save the others, tried to kill the Bargist by, in combination with May's illusion abilities, tripping it down a hole into oblivion. Did not work, unfortunately, but Fish almost bit the dust, having to call in their favor with Lady Inari in order to be rescued by sort of an ancient god of death that still holds some power here, and has now found themselves, after traveling for some time, in a strange place, quite a distance from maybe where they're supposed to be, a little bit lost, as they look out of this vista of caves and cliffs, leading inevitably to the hole at the center of death, the great fall, the oblivion, the place at which souls pass over and none return. And hearing strange whistling and the rattling of chains, screams and pleas. Uh, don't know if that's just what happens when you get deeper into death or it's something else. But is now trying to find the others that they were separated from. Meanwhile, Kekino is back in the physical world, helping Jamal and Beliala, who are doing their own things right now. And, oh, excuse me. And they're having some little adventures. Fish has been occasionally kind of checking on the real world and uh, getting some glimpses of time passing and things happening, although without any kind of deeper understanding of what's going on. Um, Shinobi is either covered in dust or has some dander, because he's speckly, and that essentially brings us to now, as the Barghest has seemed to leave you alone. As we open in our session, we come to Cal having sped ahead, stumbling into this sanctuary, this place of safety, where she now needs to decide on what to do and what her way forward is, as she enters this little gully. It's sort of a series of what would be waterfalls if there was water here, with this sanctuary at the end of it, climbing down, struggling, probably tired from the run and shadow walking, entering the um, safety of this sanctuary. Being separated from the others, alone. The Barghest long behind you, but who knows if he was following. What does Cal do as she gets to a place of at least temporary safety, but without any of her friends or party members?
I would say that Cal is going to try to make as much of like a like corner to hide in, of like if there's something like, I don't know, a bunch of pillars that are overlapped and falling off top of each other, and you can crawl into a little like hidey hole where you would be kind of invisible from someone else walking in. She will do that, and I would say just lie down for a short rest, hoping that her friends will catch up to her during that time.
Okay. You do know that you still have a fair amount to go before you reach the end, and time is running short. But with the desperation and the fear of the Barghest ambush, friends lost, no connection to them, no access to maze maps, no real way of knowing how to continue, you find a little corner. This sanctuary, the carved stone in the middle that creates this umbrella of safety, is sort of growing out of what looks like kind of a tumble of rocks. So while there is not a little cave, there is a place you can kind of push yourself into a corner, your back against the sanctuary stone, your left and front shielded by large rocks, just being out of sight, out of casual perusal, only really being able to be found if someone or something was actively looking for you. And as you lean back against the sanctuary stone, you feel that faint rumble, that pulse of Elise's energy that she's releasing. Maybe purposefully, maybe a call to you, maybe not, maybe just the effects of trying to keep herself alive here after this time. And it resonates in this sanctuary, in this shrine. Is honestly giving you just like a tiny bit of a headache, just like a little bit of that, like, the weather just changed, you're getting a little bit of that sinus headache, just that little vibration at the edge of your hearing that's like not supposed to be here. And as you lean your head back against the stone and rest, Once again, the stone emphasizes those rhythms like a tuning fork and creates something a little more cohesive. Something that feels like Elise, but not. Something that feels like memory to you. And if you so choose, while you take your short rest, probably not fully asleep, just eyes closed, you can take your short rest by disappearing or trying to call out this memory. Do you do so?
Does Cal feel like if she does, she wouldn't have a sense of people coming and entering the temple?
Give me a perception check. Kind of focus on the stone for a minute and see if you can tell how much you can like split your focus in that way.
Not one.
Nat
For a
1.
total 4.
Okay. You are shielded from casual perusal, but you realize that kind of like the Barghest didn't need to seemingly be like really looking at you to hunt you. It just kind of appeared. You never really had that much control over whether it found you or not. You know that you're off the path a little bit, that if you're very quiet, Tinnitus and the others probably wouldn't see or hear you if they came. That, of course, also leaves the danger of your friends coming and continuing on and missing you. But you realize that you can, like, split your focus a little bit if someone else was in this sanctuary, which is a bubble of like 15 feet across of safe zone. If someone else was in there with you, you would hear them. So you're not just going to crawl out of there and be surprised that somebody else is there. You probably wouldn't hear them coming.
Cal is going to ponder on this and then rationalize that when Fish comes there, that Fish is immediately going to go, Daniel! As loud as possible, no matter what, so it's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yes.
Then we will, as Cal drifts off, feeling tugged by something into this stone. We will start with that. As Fish is currently hiking through the caves. Kekino is kind of talking to you mentally every now and again, and he keeps asking you to do blasphemous darts through him, although you don't really know why. Just like, Dad, you shoot him from my mouth. Okay, thanks, Dad. And then just like ducking out again.
Yeah, Fish does it without question.
You hike up through the caves, and also at this moment, May is unconscious. So Kekino is kind of a warlock, kind of.
I was like, Kekino gets his spells from his patron Fish. It all makes sense to me now.
Yeah. I am going to do some really quick rolls to see how Jamal and Belial and Kekino are doing, and then we're going to duck into what's happening with Keno.
To what degree is Fish going? Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me.
A little bit, like I'm conceptualizing them as like pretty battered up, even though they're not physically there, and really like almost dragging their legs, but like not for lack of wanting to go forward, but like, oh fuck, I'm exhausted, but I gotta keep going. And also being like, and I also have to remember that death god so that his sacrifice is not in vain. What did he look like again?
Yes. It's being like, maybe I can look up who that was, and it's like, absolutely existed before written records. No chance in hell. But,
yeah.
Yeah, probably pretty tired, and maybe even a little bit like, it would have been so cool if it worked.
Oh
Like-
yeah,
Also,
no, for
like
sure.
self-recrimination.
because it's all about like perception and how you like see yourself. I imagine Fish is like, I'm gonna have a sexy eyebrow scar with like blood running down my cheek, even though like that's not
It
what
didn't
happened at
happen.
all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes. And then on like the less comedic note, just kind of being like, okay, that would have been so cool if you could have sacrificed yourself to eternal death to destroy the Barghest. Evidently didn't work. You have to be staying alive. I have to live for things rather than die for things. How
Right.
else am I going to get to Henry? How else am I going to get to May? How else am I going to get to Denier?
My therapist talked to me about this. Don't keep throwing yourself off the edges of cliffs. As Fish hikes and May rests, perhaps having dreams of Sinner calling from a distance, getting sucked into the death realm and injured, nightmares shaded with the whispers of Jonas. We will see as Cal sees as she starts to disappear into her vision. The wind, the realm of death, gets quieter, farther away. As sounds of conversation get louder, things that you can almost make sense of, things that you can also almost hear, and sounds of crying. You remember that crying, not fully, but it feels so familiar. You know it's Elise. As sounds start to resolve, you hear the dank echoes of the Arlak temple, quiet sobs speaking, and you will open your eyes. Strange double vision of death and a room you recognize before fully being ensconced in this, not just vision, but a memory. Something that Elise's power is awakening between the two of you, probably unintentionally, but death is not just death of people, it's death of ideas, death of memories, it's the oblivion where all things go. Maybe a piece hung on, maybe in Elise's power, maybe yours, as you find yourself very small, looking up and up and up, tall table, your big sister, and she's crying so hard. You wonder what's wrong, and then you remember mom and dad are gone, and she talked to you about that. But it's hard to fully understand, fully grasp with child's mind what's happening. Something bad. Elise is about 11, still wearing her old robe before she started to decorate it, put on the little trims, get in trouble. Someone brought you both food. You ate yours. You've got a little mush on your face. Elise is untouched. And the strange splitting happens as you feel both the memory of this, you being a child, and the adult's understanding, the adult vision. And you realize that you have a certain amount of control for what you say and do in this moment. You can choose things that didn't actually happen. What does Cal, adult Cal trying to control baby Cal, do?
Is Elise like sitting or standing?
She's sitting at the table, kind of hunched over her food, trying to be quiet, but kind of crying into her hands.
Yeah.
Not really looking at you, although a hand like reaches out and kind of like pets your head every once in a while.
Um, Cal is going to lift herself up and crawl into Elise's lap.
Give me a athletics check.
You are two babies. That's an 8.
Okay. Accurate. You put your hands on the seat, try to climb up. You feel the memory of not really being able to do this, Felice always helping you, picking you up and plopping your little butt on the seat. But you think maybe you can do it. And you get kind of like to a child's perspective halfway up and to an adult looking perspective like an inch off the ground before Elise reaching out to pet you feels that you're not there and then kind of like grabs the back of your shirt and helps pull you up, turning to you and looking very concerned that you almost hurt yourself, tears um, streaking down her face. You crawl into her lap.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls you into her lap and she squeezes you like too hard to squeeze a small child, a toddler, like absolutely needing comfort and kind of hurting you in the process. Something that you can feel the echoes of your child self being very upsetting. The touch, the stimulation, the pain, the squeeze, and your adult self with the uh, understanding of hindsight, the greater wealth of experience and understanding, being like, that's kind of uncomfortable, but it's not so bad. Do you say anything to her?
Um, Cal nuzzles, wiggle worm nuzzles and puts her ear against Elise's chest so she can hear her heartbeat and just kind of settles in as comfortable as she can make herself with not feeling too overstimulated, like not trying to get like itchy robe seams in the wrong place
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And then if Elise doesn't say anything, she'll say, "Do you want to eat?"
Um, as Elise holds you, she's stopped kind of staring into nothing and is now really staring at you, holding you tight. And the eye contact of it, the attention starts to maybe feel a little overstimulating. And as you look around kind of the rest of the room, give me a perception check.
22. Wiggle worm is locked in.
You feel your attention split a little bit as the child version of you focuses on Elise, and the adult version of you tries to reckon with what has happened, still trying to get the sense of where you are, what happened, whether this memory is true or not. You look around and see that there are a number of people around, just nobody that's paying too much attention to you, obviously, but everyone paying a little bit of attention to you at least. You're in this little chamber um, eating food, and you can see off to the side there are a number of doors open or cracked. Um, Adults, older members of your temple, speaking to each other in low whispers and then glancing at both of you and speaking to each other again. You hear, "It's so horrible. It's just the two of them now. What are we going to do? We've got it. Everyone was gone. Everyone from that temple went to that temple is gone. Um, how are we going to deal with this? Our abbot is old and doesn't have the will to fight anymore. Worry, 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 worry." Some looking at you, certainly, but most looking at Elise with sympathy for some, hostility for others. And as you're looking around, perhaps thinking, you know, try me, try to hurt Elise with these accusations or whatever you have. You start to pick out voices that you recognize. On the other side of the room, there's a door. It's fairly close to you, cracked open just a little bit, and you hear voices you recognize. Tail and Harkin. As you cuddle up to Elise, taking all this in, you look up at her and say, "Do you want to eat?" She um, releases you from your squeeze and says, uh, I don't know. I don't know, Wiggleworm. I don't think the, I don't think it's very good today, so I don't think I have an appetite.
You always tell me I have to eat anyways.
Yeah, that's true. Um, no, you're right, and that's what Mom and Dad always told us. She picks up a spoon and takes kind of a slow bite, and then starts eating kind of more mechanically than anything else, not seeming to enjoy her slightly more advanced mush, maybe even a gruel like the adults have. Um, Cal is like, "This is great mush, even better than usual. I don't know what complaints are." Um, um, as Elise holds you and takes her bites, and every once in a while she kind of like fills a spoon and then knocks out half of it and gives you a little bite from her spoon. As she pets your head and you sit for a moment, she says, "I'm always going to take care of you." Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody says anything or does anything or I don't know, but you talk to me and I'll tell them, okay? I know Shadow Spear now, and I can I can make them regret it.
Yeah. Everybody likes you.
Thanks, Worm. I hope so.
They
You look
do.
Some people maybe don't, but okay. You understand? Mom and Dad are gone?
Yeah. But we could maybe see him again, right? Cause the magic you're learning, and the magic I'm gonna learn.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Why don't why don't you why don't you ask Auntie Tail? Is she? She said she was gonna go get you an apple. Do you see where she went to?
I'm gonna find her. You gonna be okay?
Okay, just don't go far. I'll keep an eye on you. Okay?
Like you want you? Is it
I'll keep eating.
okay if I don't want to leave you if you're gonna start if you're sad.
Well, I need to finish eating so I can be strong for you. But don't go out of sight. I'll keep an eye
Okay,
on you and come back as soon as you ask someone where she is. Okay?
all right.
You remember in the actual memory toddling off to the brother who serves food and going, "Where's Auntie?" and being like guided over to her, but with these shifts of your adult perspective, you know where Tail is. You know she's through that door. She's speaking. You head over, and adults always whisper to each other, which is not really fair because you want to know stuff too. But they're always whispering to each other, and sometimes they get mad at you when they're whispering to each other and you try to like come in to see what the whispering is. So you know to be quiet when you go to the door and see if Tail is there. And I think we'll still honor that 21 perception rather than having you re-roll. Peek out through this crack, Tail's name kind of dying on your lips a little bit as you see her and Harkin in the hallway. Much, much younger than your adult perceptions. And Harkin looking like a solid man of maybe 40. Um, much younger than the weakened, older um, version that you're used to, your teacher that you grew up with. And Tail, and something that you've always known about Sister Tail, something you always knew cognitively, but never really engaged with emotionally as you were growing up. Something that only time and perspective can shift for you. One of the very first things you learned about Sister Tail, the very first session of our game, was that she looks like an older woman because she is very weak with magic and therefore is not as slowed in the aging process as others. And when you look at Sister Tail, you feel the warmth of seeing your aunt, who was going to give you a treat, and your adult perspective, seeing a woman who is only about 30 years older than Cal is. A woman now already starting to look tired, already starting to look older, woman much, much younger than Cal herself is now in her perspective, arguing, hissing at an Harkin. And you caught, you know, smattering of this when you were a kid. You didn't understand what any of it meant, what any of it was. Now, with your adult perception, you revisit the conversation you overheard. Tail is washing, drying, scrubbing at her hands. You still see the red of blood in the creases as the towel gets bloody. She looks tired, haggard, stressed. And then Harkin, usually so put together, a little disheveled. You vaguely remember her finding you and telling you about your parents' smell of blood on her. You realize now as an adult what Elise must have realized, that she was the one who found the bodies. She saw it herself. Her two closest friends in the entire world dead. Do you hear and hearken with his ever so reasonable teacher voice, kind that is built for lectures, not comfort, saying, you and I both know that the abbot is on the way out, and we will get a new one. If not me, who? I control the second factions. You have influence with this younger crowd, and now with the others gone, you are the only one who can speak for them. Who's going to care for the girls better, me or someone you've never met, some outsider, some, was it American? You're talking about tinnitus. Yeah? He already spoke to me. We talked. Came in from Florence. He was at the battle. And he looked at Elise and he said, it's such a shame what happened to them. You know, it's so odd that two siblings like this would be so close together at the same temple. For their safety, to make sure the family isn't all gone, we should split them up. Brother and Harkin, my priority has to be them now. And I was threatened in no uncertain terms. If I pushed politically for you, if I pushed against tinnitus, they would be taken away. They would be split up. They would go to other temples. I cannot risk that. You are the one that keeps this temple running. You think anybody else could provide our food, our clothing? You are what keeps us running, and without you, tinnitus is nothing. Sister, come now, you understand. What's best for the girls is me. And I understand that you don't have the support of any of the other temples, and the American, as you say, is a war hero. He already has the backing of, what, 3 sanctuaries, 10 temples. This is going to happen, and it's only a matter of time. He's watching me. You think that the new staff, the ones that served with him in the British campaign, you think that they just got transferred here on a coincidence? No. They're keeping an eye on me. And every time I have a conversation, they double check. See what we were talking about. They're double checking all of my orders. They're going through the food that I order, making sure I'm not passing correspondence. No. I need to look after the girls. He'll focus on them. He'll use them to hurt me, to hurt you, to keep us in line. They are better off if I can keep my distance just until things cool down. Just until he feels more secure. Gotta take care of them from afar. They won't love you for that. And Tail. No. They'll be together, and that's what matters. Aunt Tail. Hello? Do you have that apple? Oh. She turns towards you, and you see angry tears welling up in her eyes. Combination of pain and grief and frustration. And you think of how many times she probably came back to this conversation. Tried to give you and Elise a little space. Yes, maybe mother from afar. And weeks passed, and months passed, and years passed. As she focused on the politics, on keeping the temple together, on keeping the two of you together, as she missed her chance. She could have been your new mom. She could have taken care of you. Elise didn't have to start carrying you around when she was so young herself. The Tail made a choice, and perhaps it was the wrong one. And as Sister Tail gets out the apple that she had sliced up for you and walks with you over to Elise, giving her a pained smile and a tight hug. You perhaps remember all the little things that she did for you and all of the big things she didn't. Trying to take care of you without being too close. Trying to love you without making it obvious to her enemies. A compromise that never really helped anyone, perhaps. And as you feel your bond with Tail so stretched and thin now, so damaged, feel a little tug of connection, something pulling you. And as your eyes start to flutter open, you feel that pull still as you wake up from your short rest nap. And feel something very strange. And with that, we will pause what Cal is doing to see what that strangeness is, as we will move over to Fish. Hiking and hiking and hiking through these caves until finally able to reach an end. Coming out of this cave mouth at this cliffside, looking out at this huge shelving down, 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 as the world seems to wrap around you. You can see distant canyons and mountains from the other side of death, all twisting down into this void, this blackness. And you hear on the wind the whistling, a rattling, and cries for help, cries of pain, things that are not at all uncommon here, things you've been hearing the entire time, but a little clearer, a little more directional, coming from somewhere, maybe? What is Fish focusing on in this moment?
Doing a read the threads to pinpoint Cal's exact location at this time, and hopefully she is not moving from where she is, like perhaps having a short rest or something, so that you know, they don't lose her and they can just follow that to go find her.
Okay. Give me a, we'll say, charisma saving throw.
Mm. 16.
16? All right. With a 16, you feel this moment of kind of like discomfort, pain, almost like getting pulled in multiple directions at once, a discomforting vibration as if you're shaking apart. And overlaid in your vision, you see two sets of threads so closely together, so intermingled that they are almost impossible to separate for a moment, as you see both within the realm of death and in the physical world the threads and locations of Cal's soul, Cal's body, as well as May's soul, May's body, as well as Kekino, as well as Jamal, Eliala, Io, Jonas, Henry, everything kind of all at once. As you search through the threads for Cal, you feel little signals, little pings of each person as you touch their thread. Anyone you get sort of like an update for before focusing on Cal?
Henry.
You touch Henry's thread and you feel cold concrete, metal bench digging into your back. Resignation, sadness, and fear. They've stopped haunting you, at least. Seems like you weren't good sport enough. The creature is here. But as you feel yourself in your own body rest back against this metal bench, look out at the bars of your cell, mind turns ever so slightly to that touch you felt, that you instinctively reached out to. You don't know what it is. And you resign yourself to the fact that no one is coming to save you.
Now this is not a literal happening, it's purely in symbol, but like Fish takes the thread and like wraps it around their wrist once and brings it up to their mouth to like talk directly into it and goes, I'm coming for you. I'm going to help you. Please wait just a little bit longer.
You feel Henry shift a little bit. The words didn't carry, but the emotions did. As you feel Henry's body kind of stiffen a little bit, chin raised, say to himself, I've been through tougher than this. As he resolves to keep hanging on for a little bit longer.
It's not much, but it'll do for now. And like entirely metaphorically, like Fish holds the thread to their mouth just a bit longer and then lets it go. And it's like, all right, now to Cal.
As you grab Cal's connection, you feel it kind of up the cliff and behind you a ways. It seems like in your travels you went far enough in the cave that you passed Cal by like a significant distance and now need to kind of like work backwards, climbing back up this slope, climbing farther out of death as you are closer to the center, the final oblivion than Cal is at this moment. And as you look around, there's not an easy path, but you can see places that you can start climbing and getting up, and you realize that you're not as far from the kind of top of this run of cliffs as you suspected. Yeah, you know the direction you can head in for Cal as you reach out and tug on that connection between you.
Yep.
Do you start heading that way?
Yes. However, I'd like to perhaps do a roll for is this the same whistling that the Barghest does, or is it just like I know by my ears hearing it that it's the same one, but does Fish know this? Do I make a roll for this?
Yes. No, give me a perception or investigation check.
Oh, okay. On investigation, 7.
Okay. You don't really know. You think about it, and you're like, oh, whistling. Why does the Barghest whistle? And you realize, like, you never saw its, like, mouth move with the whistling, like it was actually whistling, and you're like, maybe it's just like a sound effect when he's around? Like, maybe it's not something it's doing purposefully? Maybe
That's
there are
just
other...
how he breathes.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
the sound he makes when he breathes.
He's got asthma. Just don't be mean to him. He's got a disability. You with a 7, you perhaps think, being like, Barghest is a creature of death. Seems to make this sound when it's near. There might be other creatures of death that kind of have inherent sounds that could be similar. I don't think if you know this is like, that's the Barghest. But you do feel a little bit like it's... Yeah, a 7 is enough to be like, it doesn't sound exactly the same. It sounds a little more layered, like maybe there are multiple sources. but that's all you get, and that
Oh,
is
he's
coming
back.
from like deep down, like definitely the opposite direction of where you want to go to get Cal.
Okay. Well, the opposite direction of where Cal is not where I want to be going. And if dead things just really love whistling, listen,
They could.
I don't get it, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
You know
I'm
what? Death is
certainly going to
boring.
be sick of. Yeah, I'm certainly going to
You
be
gotta have a
sick of
hobby.
hearing whistling by the time I get out of here. I'm just ignoring that. I'm going after Cal.
Okay. As you start climbing up the cliffs, forging this little trail, um, uh, you start reaching the top, and the whistling starts fading behind you a little bit, as well as the other sounds. You get a query from Kekino, just being like, "Hey, Dad, I think I know how like your magic locks work, but I'm not sure if I totally know how your magic locks work. Can you explain to me how your magic locks work?"
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. All right. Just stops and is like, you kind of just have to like really just concentrate and like tell it to be closed, whatever it is. Just
Tell it to be
tell it,
closed. Okay.
and don't respond to anything except uh, the words that you're gonna say. Set a password. You know, set a password like clams. Not to, no, it can't be that obvious. But like something that people wouldn't guess.
Okay. All right. So maybe I can guess the door, unless it's a different kind of door. You hear him kind of like mutter to himself a little bit as he as his attention kind of moves away. You know, Kekino's clearly kind of in the middle of something, doing something, um, and you don't really know what's going on with him.
Okay.
As
Fish did want to know what Jamal was doing. Like that was where they
Mhm.
sent Kekano off to, and so
Yep.
it's just going to be like, did you seek tractate?
Oh, yes. Jamal is taking care of something right now. He said there's something really important that he needs to find, and he is sitting at a table, and there's a bunch of books around him, and people are trying to stop him from getting the books. And I don't know, it's a little weird. And he told me to try to find out how to open the doors, because the doors that Colliginous is behind is sealed, and also May's door is sealed, and some like other doors are sealed and stuff that he's trying to open, I guess. And yeah, and he's been doing a bunch of things like that, and he seems really excited, like maybe he found something. But people keep like doing spell stuff, and uh like there's like Cal does with the shadows that they stab things. Keep doing that at
Yeah,
Jamal,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so Jamal is like ducking under the table a lot, and people seem really angry, I guess.
yeah. Well, you know, why wouldn't you be? But you're working on the doors right now, and that's your important job.
Yeah.
So I guess the same way that I'm trying to tell you that you tell the door to be closed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, See if you can tell these doors to be open and to trust you, and that they should, because
Oh.
the library, the book house, is in charge
Yeah.
of those doors. So
Yeah, my
maybe
brother
you
the book
could.
house.
Yes, the book house. Well, the book house would want you to be able to open doors, right? So, tell the doors that you've basically got authority. Like, you know, it's all about the attitude. You have to go in with confidence and say this is the way that it is, even when it's not. Just forget that.
Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. I understand, Dad. I got it. Thank you so much. Give me a persuasion check with advantage, as Kekino is going to use your advice to try to persuade the bookhouse.
Persuasion. That is a dirty 20.
Okay. With a dirty 20, Kekino does not check in with you again for a little bit.
Okay.
As you are hiking, you start to hear like a little chiming on the winds a little bit as you start to crest this rise. There's sort of it's something that happens when you're actually hiking is you're climbing a mountain and it looks like you're getting to the top, but it's just like a little ledge and actually the top is much farther away, and then that happens again. That keeps happening over and over again, although the slope is getting much less severe. And finally you crest a crest a rise and see a standing stone rattling in the wind. A sanctuary here, and it is covered in little dangling charms that you recognize. The sanctuary is standing stone. It's much more buried here than other ones you've seen. Sort of, it's sticking up in the middle of a slope. It's got this weird thing of being like, the stone is always like perfectly vertical, even when the ground isn't horizontal. So it's kind of like digging out the side of a mountain. And attached to it are what you recognize as badges. The badges that the High Cleric wears, each on a little nail driven into the stone. I think it's reasonable to assume this is the final stone, the one Cal is supposed to come to.
Ooh, okay. I wonder if the thing that Cal needs is something that I can take from here and bring to her. Maybe. I'd like to, like stick my head inside, see perhaps what's going. Yeah.
You walk into the actual sanctuary. You feel kind of like that sense of peace and safety wash over you a little bit as you enter its domain. The wind and the screams becoming more muted, farther away, less important. And you reach out and you just try to grab one?
Yeah.
Okay. You reach out and you try to grab one. Just plucks right off. You've got one of these badges.
I take another one. I've got two, just in case.
Okay. Give me an Arcana check.
Okay. 7.
7. You like might as well grab another, and you go to grab another one. It is like it has been glued to this nail. You go to lift it up, and it's like,
Yeah.
the one came off so easily, and as you kind of observe it with your connection magic, you can see a little bit of like connection established with you. This is your badge.
Yeah. One per person, can't be passing it along either. Wouldn't it be so funny if Denier and May came in here to get this thing and I'm the one who gets it? Oh, yep, classic fish. All right. Well, holds that tight. We'll bring it back anyway. And if I can like remember the way to get back here,
Yeah.
and I can just simply go and pick up Cal, bring her straight back, and then be like, all right, now you get your thing, and then we go back to the okay.
You first of all, you put the badge in kind of your Force Ghost pocket, and you can feel it like weigh you down in a weird way of being like you're manipulating an object that's like here and is physical, even though you're not. And as you're thinking about trying to get back here, trying to get Cal here, trying to get May here, you realize that you don't need to.
Hmm.
You're looking over this badge, trying to yank off another one, looking at the connection between the badge and you, and then you're looking at your connections between you and Cal and May, the thing that you pulled on to get here, the thing you used to manifest in this realm, and you realize that in that case, Cal was the anchor here in death, and you pulled yourself to her, pulled yourself into death. It could work the opposite way. You could pull on Cal's thread, pull on May's thread, and they get a beacon, a guide, a force pulling them in the right direction, pulling them to you.
No, that's good. I like that, and it also means that I can hang around here and investigate. It means I can hang around here and investigate in the meanwhile. Okay. Then what we're gonna do is Fish looks at that and like I imagine it tries to like magnetize it a little bit, like, okay, what if I put it on Cal's thread? Okay, what if I put it on May's thread? No, it's definitely mine. Okay. And then basically just like, all right, guys, jingling my keys. Get over here.
And as far away, but not too far, you feel this response to your pull as Cal wakes up from her short rest. I will say most of Fish's concentration will have to be kind of reeling in the others and guiding them in this way. You can...
They've gone fishing.
Yes, they've gone fishing, exactly. You can take a short rest while you're reeling them in, or if you choose to leave and try to investigate more of this area, find out if it's safe around here, maybe figure out if tinnitus is close, try to figure out what those sounds are, whatever. You're going to do your rolls with disadvantage just because you've got this thing that you need to focus on in the back of your mind.
Yeah, no, would rather like serve as a like a more solid thing to go towards a solid beacon. If just under the assumption that these sanctuary shrines are all going to be safely protected, like as long as you're not sniffing around just the edge of it so the Barghest can bite your neck, which Fish isn't doing if they just stay perfectly, in the center, in the pillar. Yeah. And also it would be good to get a short rest as well. And so I guess a sit and a pointed meditation of just like, hey, everyone come to me. And you know what? If Tinnitus comes to me, that's fine. I'll deal with him.
All right. You take a short rest, and as you take a short rest, you can choose to kind of be doing this in the background and have your focus shift a little bit more to through Kekino to see what's going on with that, if you so choose.
Yes.
As you sit here and pull, trying to reel them in, we will now instead move over to May. First of all, I want to
Okay,
remind
but first
you.
I'm double checking. I'm putting all of my health back. Yes.
No, not all of your health, all of your spell points for
Yes.
you
What about
specifically.
the health?
You can choose, as what I was just about to say, since Cal and Fish are doing short rests, and May is going to get a short rest, although was unconscious during it. You roll your hit die and recover that much. So the chance of not fully healing by rolling all of them is incredibly low. So we can just say if you have all of them and you use all of them, you're fully healed. But otherwise, it's like, hey, use like 3 now, and then I can get a short rest later and take like another 4. Like, there are resources that you can save. And there is someone, I want to say Cal, who already used one as part of a spell effect earlier. So Cal would actually have to roll, even if she's going to use all the rest of hers. But
I know my hit dice is D8, but how many do I get to roll?
you have total a D8. You don't entirely have D8s. You have a D8 per hedge mage level and a D6 per symbolist level. So you've always got an amount equal to your total level. But the actual amount depends on what class you're in, because it's essentially the same die you roll to increase your health each time when you level up. So you can choose to
then
be
we'll do.
like, I'll do the D8s and I'll save the D6s, or the opposite, or what have you. Cal's is very easy because she only has D8s.
Yeah. Well, then we'll do 4d6s.
Okay.
Alright. 8, 9. 9 points.
Okay. 9 points of health healed back. Mark off that you used those hit die, and
Yep.
you got that back.
Alright, that'll do me.
And with that, also have Cal in the background roll any hit die that you want to recover, and we are going to move over to the poor unconscious May Gladly, as May gets her involuntary short rest and heals a number of hit die.
Already rolled mine. I heal 48.
Okay. That put you back up to full?
No, but close to.
Okay. Yeah, you roll. Did you roll all of them?
Yeah, I use a dice sim because there's too
Okay.
many to do manually.
I was gonna remind you that you also have 1d10, but you already got it.
Yeah, I can use it.
As Cal is waking up from a short rest from this vision and feeling the pull of Fish, May in her nightmares feels something pull her as well. And it brings her up to consciousness just a little bit, and finally is able to be awake enough to actually rest and kind of take in her surroundings. And there's something around you, something on the edge of hearing that may be a concern of yours. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Patrick, my stats have disappeared on Kill, like the tab for them. I know my perception. I was just going to open it up by habit.
I still see it. Abilities and proficiencies.
I press something? It's like literally only giving me the health and combat.
There should be health and
tab.
combat, abilities and proficiencies,
Yeah.
level up and symbols. Sometimes it is like in a different place. Yeah, try refreshing the page. Sometimes it is in a different place on the page.
That was weird. Yeah, it glitched out. It's fine now.
Okay.
Fucking for me. Anyway, sorry, perception.
Yep.
That is a 20 dirty.
Okay. With a dirty 20, you hear it with enough time to be able to react, even as slow as you are, just coming to consciousness after being very injured, feeling at your throat where the Barghest carved a big chunk out of it, now clotted. You hear footsteps and talking. And as you pause a moment in getting to your feet, letting the rocks settle, you believe it is Tinnitus and Harkin and Tail. What do you do?
Great. Are there any hiding spots around?
Yeah, you are still kind of on the battlefield where the Barghest killed you. So, there are a number of hiding spots. You're a little slow to like get up and get moving, but with a dirty 20, you have enough time to get somewhere and hide.
I think it's unlikely that Tinnitus will bother trying to take me out or anything, but I also don't know if I care to be in the party with to try and join their party. Not really the vibe. Can I just have May roll an insight?
Sure, like a self insight
Yeah.
or a tinnitus insight.
You know what? Let's do a Tinnitus insight, and that's a nat 20 up to a 22.
Okay. Tinnitus couldn't kill you when the event started because you were in a safe no killing people zone, and dismissed it to Cal by being like, well, death will handle these non-necromancers, they'll be torn apart instantly kind of thing. You do think with a nat 20 that you're like, you haven't run into him since you were in a place where he couldn't attack you. Now that he has the opportunity, he might just do it. And also being kind of the like blow to the religious faith of being like, it's been a while now, and May is still here. To just being like, everything is wrong with the world, therefore I must correct it. Time to take off May Gladly's head. So yes, you do think that while it is not a guarantee that he will go after you, maybe you have to talk your way out of it. It is likely that he would not be kind to you should he know that you're here. And
May's gonna hide.
And as you do this insight check, it also sounds like the conversation that's getting closer is arguing in some way.
Time to eavesdrop. Okay, May is going to hide. She gets advantage on stealth rolls with her current armor, so please God. Not great. Better. Give me a sec. Okay, that's a 15.
Okay. 15. Let me roll some quick perception checks. Give me just a moment. Then. Okay. As you find yourself a little crevice to wedge yourself into, it looks like it could be the opening to a cave, but as you get deeper, you realize it's entirely sealed off and it's just like a little cubby for you to hide in.
Hmm.
You find an angle that allows you to both see and hear, although that does expose you a little bit more. And as they come around the corner, you start to hear more distinctly um, the sounds of people arguing, the steps, and uh, some uh, careful applications of necromancy. As they step into view, you hear Tinnitus say, "English, please." As you see Tinnitus come around the corner, no longer using the uh, shadow stilts. Seems like he kind of wore himself out. He looks a little tired, but he is kind of like walking a straight line and instead doing like a shadow pole vault over like crevices and up cliff faces and things like that. Um, Tail and Harkin look significantly worse than he does. Um, and Harkin is clearly very tired, although not like really obviously injured. You can see a little bit of kind of like blood on the scalp of being like maybe hit his head or something like that. Very obviously like flagging physically. Tail fully has an arm in a sling, like it's broken, and looks very fucked up. As um, they become even with your hiding place, you shift slightly to get a better look, and rock falls from your hand. Tinnitus turns towards you instantly and says, "What was that?" As Tail's eyes flick up to your hiding place and then says, "As I was just saying, Abbott, we should cut our losses. We have been here too long, and the chance of any of us succeeding at this trial is becoming slimmer. I know you wish to find the answers in the library, but it is time to give up." And Tinnitus, forgetting about you, turns around and angrily yells at Sister Tail. And Harkin seems to be it seems to be kind of like in his own world, like clearly like dealing with his suffering, is kind of like chiming in every now and again, but mostly like not really paying attention. And you notice doesn't even glance at your little crevice that you're hiding in. As Tinnitus stops and turns on the two of them and says, "Oh, you want to give up? Or do you just want out of our little deal? You remember what happens to you, right? If I fail, or if you come out and I don't." Sister Os was so grateful for the opportunity to do something useful to further our faith, even if that is crushing those less faithful. Let me be clear, sister. If you should leave, and I do not have whatever this token is, confers that I won this trial. Sister Os will kill you, and Harkin, the heretic, and deal with the consequences, whatever may come. She is someone of true faith, willing to sacrifice for us. Something I understand you two know very little about. We were not trying to dissuade you, Abbot. We merely say that this is very dangerous, and the price paid may be too high. If you give up, if you return to the starting point and you are pulled out by the tether, what happens? You fail, you are banned from the library forever. Is nothing. But to die here, your soul shredded, is much worse. We only have your safety in mind, your concern. I appreciate it, brother. Let's continue. The girl and her companions, I suppose, seem to have stolen a march on us. We'll need to skip the second and third sanctuaries and head directly to the fourth. But that is significantly more dangerous. You will pay the price then. Let us go. Turns and starts marching off. And you see Sister Tail for just a moment turn and look right at your crevice. Raise a hand away from Tinnitus, where you can't see, and go. And then start walking away and moving on.
Okay.
The soundboard just went.
Yeah, I know. The sound was cutting out, so I need to restart it.
Just checking. Was that a "I know you're there" or was that a "psychic message me, you dumb bitch"?
Probably both. Absolutely. I know you're there. I hope you were paying attention. I baited him into talking, and also being like, I'm pretty sure you have the message spell. Maybe whip that out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hey, girl, want to chat?
Hey, girl, you up?
Girl, please get into the group chat. I know you made an anti-tinnitus group chat.
Yeah. May will message her. And says, I rather appreciate you not alerting the others to my presence.
The absolute instant you stop talking and it is possible for her to respond, she completely ignores everything you say and say, is Kalichinus safe? Is she with you?
Yeah, fair. She's gone on ahead. As far as I know, I hope she's safe. She's being hunted.
You feel a sense of relief, and then she says, hunted by more than us?
Hunted by the very thing that Tinnitus is seeking to master. I'd suggest that, if possible, maybe do stop in at a sanctuary at some point. And don't get too close to the wall. Oh, sorry, the edge.
The barrier, yeah.
The barrier, thank you. Yeah.
As she's kind of walking away from you, so you're getting the body language from her back. You're probably trying to wait till they're far enough away and kind of sneak out, maybe follow along behind them just to stay in the range of message. You see her kind of shoot a glance to and hearken, and you hear her respond, "That's good to know." threats were not the only reason I came in here. If my abbot has to die to keep Caligula safe, that is a price I would pay willingly. And I believe Brother Harkin thinks much along the same lines, in perhaps a more opportunistic way.
I think all of us are in agreement that that's a price we're willing to pay. Enthusiastically, perhaps.
He's strong. His reputation didn't come from nothing.
I don't doubt it, but I'd hope 5 against 1 is enough to turn the tides.
Perhaps. We'd need to pick our moment, and perhaps this beast thing will handle it for us.
I wouldn't count on it.
Okay. As starting to move farther away from you, you're kind of like ducking from crevice to crevice, following behind them. They're going largely the same way that you saw Cal disappear in, and your maps told you the next sanctuary is, but then they like diverge and start like climbing up a hill, like they're gonna shoot off at an angle and cut the corner. So for right now, you can just follow along behind them and still be going to where you know Cal went, but they are pretty soon you're gonna have to make the choice whether to go in the direction Cal went, follow these three across this more dangerous path, keep an eye on them, maybe look for an opportunity, or as the tug in your chest gets a little stronger, go in the third direction, which is kind of between the two of where Fish is pulling you. As you head along, and the message starts to get a little faint as you're like right at the edge of your range. You hear, what information do you have about finding Elise?
May's gonna roll insight because I don't know, she doesn't fully trust Tail. Like,
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah. That's another nat 20. 22! Tail and May, best friends!
Insights in a row.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Tail is doing her best, but is clearly unused to like psychic communication. It's not a necromancer skill, and it's not a necromancer skill, and it's not something she would necessarily have tons of experience with, although she figures that you know something about it. She's like bleeding a lot of emotions and like secondary thoughts that she's like doesn't want to share with you, but doesn't know enough to like hold back.
Yeah.
So
I know. Don't tell me everything, Tail.
Yeah. So as she's like like a very professional, like if a little worried, like, what updates do you have on finding Elise? You get oh my god, I hope Elise is okay. No, she can take care of herself, but Cal is in such danger. But no, she's got the kids to think of now, and then you got to do. She's gonna have the opportunity to do better than you did. You can't have these kids be without a mother, and you just got to make sure that they're all okay, and that everyone is okay, and that if anyone you've got to make sure that she gets back. Just tons and tons of worry of Cal and Elise, to the point where like you're kind of surprised it's not like actively interfering with her ability to kind of like walk and talk at the same time. She's consumed with anxiety for Cal and Elise. And to answer Ink's question in the chat, she looks about the same, but is moving more like her joints hurt. Like kind of her pain is like exaggerated a little bit in this place. Yes, with a nat 20, she's asking because she's consumed with anxiety, and there is this very base level background, almost subconscious rhythm to her thoughts. With a nat 20, maybe something she herself is not aware of, but over and over and over and over and over again, just repeating, looping in her mind is, I failed them. I will never be able to make up for that. I failed them. I will never be able to make up for that, over and over and over again. And it almost has like a suicide note refrain of being like, Tail is maybe not consciously, but in a way kind of psyching herself up to jump on the grenade in order to save Cal and Elise, even though there's not really a grenade in this moment to jump on.
Okay. All right. May says, we suspect that she's trapped in death somewhere else. That's why we came to the library, to look for a way to find her. As far as we know, she's healthy. I presume using her magic to keep herself alive, but it's becoming a matter of finding her, and likely sooner rather than later.
Elysium is very strong, but no one, no matter how strong, can last here forever.
Exactly our thought.
Okay. I couldn't take care of them when they were younger. And when they got older and they threatened the abbot, I thought maybe the best way to protect them was staying with him, diverting him away from her, keeping him distracted, and I don't know what to do. Nothing I tried ever worked. I'm a failure.
Maddie, that's like you're like, oh, girl, I don't know you.
Yeah, some of that is like subtext. Like what Dale actually says is like, I failed them, I don't want to fail them again, and you're getting to like, I failed them and I'm never gonna make up for it, and I'm a horrible fucking person, and these are my like list of failures, and I keep trying to do the right thing and I keep fucking up because I'm just a fuck up and it's never gonna be good enough.
They doesn't say the things. Jesus Christ. May says,
the reality of death like warps around you slightly as the idea of Jesus Christ
ricocheting
out. That resurrected from the dead, like the idea goes out into space.
You know what happens? It's like the imagery from the in the background, like a giant. Do you know what I'm talking about? No? Okay.
No. And you cut
Oh,
out
okay.
a little bit, unfortunately.
Oh, never mind. Basically,
Whenever
I
you
was just,
lean back from the mic.
Basically, I was saying there's a scene. There's like I can't remember the scene, but in Neon Genesis Evangelion, they use a lot of Christian imagery because the creator just thought it was cool. Didn't
Yeah,
really.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but
have any deeper
there's
meaning, yeah.
yeah. I was imagining me as like Jesus Christ, and behind her like a giant crucifix man like fades.
Mhm. The rock wall like shifts in just a slight way that it forms an outline of a man before it disappears.
May says, "Well, cleric, the mortals have a saying: the first best time to plant a tree is yesterday, and the second best time is today. So we have an opportunity. Let's not squander it."
Are you capable of fighting? Are you ready?
I'm rather low in magic, but fortunately I don't need magic to manifest guns. So.
Very well. Hopefully we'll be able to pick our moment soon.
Here's hoping.
Well, if there are consequences from Sister Ross, so be it. But
If only, cleric, you had another temple that you could perhaps join.
If I survive getting out of this one, we'll see if Polygonus wants me. But somehow I doubt it. She it was said like, hey, Cleric Oss is gonna break down your door and like kill you while you're still like, what? Where am I? I'm back in my body? And just like accept the consequences. And that threat goes to her, goes to Enharken, and goes to Cal. Of like, Cal is not allowed to win this. Cal either Tinnitus and Cal dies, or just Cal dies. Like that's the way the scales have been weighted. So yeah, Tail is like, is there perhaps, I hesitate to ask more of you, is there perhaps a way you could protect Polygonus's flesh?
May's just thinking about the tether, going, what? May says, yes. Theoretically, though, I have to somehow get the message to Fish. A bigger concern is that somebody killed Polygonus's tether just as she made the leap in.
Huge spike in shock, like almost like this is not like intended to be sent to you again with that nat 20, but almost like a babbling of like, she's dead, there's nothing she can do, and I'm gonna, hopefully I can find her, but then I'll just watch her die.
Calm yourself, cleric, calm down. We have ways of getting her out, and we have increased the enchantment on her as best we can. We can still make this out. We can still get out alive. You need to stay calm. You're no good to Polygonus if you're going to just be in a panic.
Right. Well, I hope you know what you're doing.
The feeling's mutual.
And with that, they are starting to hike on their new path. You need to make a choice. Are you going to continue to shadow them, or be like, hey guys, I'm going to come with you. Don't kill me. Tail likes me. Or are you going to try and follow a path to Fish and hopefully maybe Cal?
Can I ask very nicely for a piggyback on that nat 20 insight? When she was talking about hopefully we'll find our moment, did I get the sense that she was going to do it on the way to this fourth sanctuary? Because I don't want to leave her in the lurch.
No, that absolutely is covered by the nat 20. Again, the thoughts that are coming through to her are like, Tail is very clearly very scared. You don't know much about kind of the power differences between her and Tinnitus. Obviously, Cal has talked to you about Tail just a little bit, but never said anything about her being strong at all. And Harkin, based on your judgment, is maybe stronger, but also a very political creature who doesn't like risk his neck for no reason. And Tinnitus is a famous necromantic warrior, on par, like, reputation-wise with, like, a Solomon Wreath. So,
at least a level 15.
at least level 15. In fact, to pull the curtain back just a little bit, he is level 16.
Oh, all right. Cool.
He is level 16. Elise is level 18. But yes, that's how things stand. You get the sense that she has been looking for a moment the entire time that she's been here, and unfortunately, it's got to be a pretty big and drastic moment to make up for the power difference. And also, she's very clearly scared. It's those things about, like, I get one roll of the dice. If I don't do it at the right moment, it's all for naught. Everything's wasted, which also means that, like, she has had a bunch of moments that could have worked and chosen not to do that yet. Maybe out of good judgment, maybe just out of fear of being like, you think that kind of without something happening, a run-in with a creature in death, or the Bargus coming after them, or something dangerous, or finding like a really dangerous pit of land or something like that, without something kind of like more external to even the odds.
Okay.
She won't take that step until something happens. So if you don't go with her, she's probably not going to pull the trigger on that.
Okay. Before she steps out of range, May is going to say, I'm going to go find my friends. Don't take the first swing unless you can absolutely avoid. I'd rather us all be there together to really make sure that our chances are maximized.
The thing that she purposely communicates to you is, all right, understood. And what you get emotionally is, okay.
Usually, cool.
Yeah. No, there is this thing about being like, Tail is very much a small fish in a big pond that is significantly more important than she thinks she is. Politically, she keeps like cutting herself down, minimizing her importance over and over again. But when it comes to like her power, her prowess, it's not necessarily wrong. It's that kind of thing of being like, at a certain point, the difference between like, I'm a coward and I just have an accurate assessment of my own abilities is not a huge one. You don't really know where on that line Tail falls, because it is very like, oh cool, I have some support, I don't have to take this big swing alone. It's like, are you just being logical of being like, I don't think I could beat Tinnitus without this extra circumstances? Are you like, thank God, death denied for another hour or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. With that in mind, May is going to peel off from them, and if she can, maybe like scrabble up to higher ground so she can like look out before making a decision about whether to ostensibly go to short calories.
Okay. Give me a cartography check with disadvantage. I will say, because of what you rolled before, you can without too much trouble, get to the second sanctuary. It's now trying to like map out, at least generally speaking, where the others are to like do a larger route.
Yep. Dirty 20.
Okay, and that was with disadvantage.
Yeah, I rolled a 17 and then a 12.
Okay. With a dirty 20, you think that from what you remember of the map, and unfortunately the map does not, the map is a very basic, like,
Yeah.
here is a shrine, and then over here is another shrine, and then here is another shrine, and doesn't cover like any of the terrain in between. It's not a topographical map, because the terrain of death, according to Cal, is constantly like shifting and changing and nothing's static. So it can't help you in that way. So you can kind of look at the map and plot like, okay, I go like due west, and it's like you have no idea if there's going to be a huge fucking mountain in the way or a giant pit or it's going to be smooth sailing. So a lot of the difficulty is filtering out the things you're seeing that are not true because you don't have this accurate perception. You're like, okay, let's get to high ground. There's a giant 17 armed demon thing sitting over there. I assume that's a mountain. I guess I'll go step on it and see if it's like physically under my shoe or not. Yep, okay, this is a thing. We can walk up this weird creature. It's looking more like a mountain all the time. You are trying to rectify a very simplistic map with like reading the terrain in a way that makes this very difficult. But from what you can see, once you get to higher ground, you can see that little glimmer in the distance of the next sanctuary. You think if you get to number 2 and then follow Fish's hole, you can like cut the corner and skip 3 entirely and go to 4. But based on the map, maybe not need to get so far from 3 that like in an emergency you couldn't reach it. Like you with a dirty 20, you kind of plan out a route that is like more dangerous than following the path as intended, but not as dangerous as what Tinnitus is doing, which is like the beeline direct path.
And are they going in like the right direction?
As far as you can tell, yes. You don't know like what access to stuff Tinnitus has.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been in death before and is like a more experienced death explorer. Maybe he looked at his own maps because he knew he was probably going to take this test before he came here. You know very little about him outside of the context of this is Cal's kind of surrogate dad who's a huge dickhead. You don't know what he did to prepare for this, so he seems to you to be like really on track. If he doesn't have a map or anything, it's possible he'll drift off track, but he seems to be headed in the right direction. You think that it's going to come down to a matter of speed, where if Cal is at the second or third shrine, you will get to her first, and if Cal is headed to the fourth shrine or already there, it all depends on how fast everybody moves and what kind of roadblocks you run into to see if, Cal is going to get to the last shrine and be there alone with Tinnitus and the others, or if you're all going to be together, or what have you.
Okay. Also, can I have May? I meant to do this, but then we got caught up with eavesdropping. Could May have done a perception on the hole that Fish fell into? AKA to see if there's some way, like, maybe it turns into a tunnel and they're fine. Or, like, does she suspect they're either they've noped out of the realm or they actually are dead?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
It's another dirty 20.
You look down and it kind of spirals. It's got a bunch of these like branching tunnels and holes. It's very like honeycombed in a way down below. And then you can see all the way down at the bottom the just endless pure black that you cannot pierce. The oblivion and death. And then you feel the fishes tug on your thread, and it's like, well, I guess they're still alive, and they're kind of in that direction, maybe. So I guess I don't know which fucking one of these fish fell into, and if that makes like a direct path or what's happening. But
Is the tug in the direction that, like, broadly, though, does it line up with where Tinnitus? Like, basically what I'm asking is, could May perhaps, like, assume the fish has somehow made it to the final sanctuary?
with a dirty 20, like, triangulating position, it's not so precise fish's tug, but you think that fish is either, like, at or around the fourth sanctuary, or is at the third sanctuary, or traveling between them. You don't think that they're, like, right ahead of you at the second sanctuary.
Okay. May is, like, relieved that they're alive, and has a moment of, like, I really gotta stop throwing myself under the bus for them and just trust. You know what?
Yeah.
And then is gonna set off to Cal. And can she roll stealth to try and minimize any? Yep.
Anything, any bugbears coming after you?
Well, I get advantage. So already fantastic. Won't be much better. Yeah. That is a dirty 20.
A dirty 20 what?
Yeah, no, dirty 20 again.
Okay. A dirty 20 again. All right. Let's roll some quick checks.
So are you up to 4 now?
I haven't been keeping count.
Well, these are.
I think you're
are,
up to 4.
These are dirty 20s, not nat 20s.
Yeah, not nat 20s. I've just been getting
Yeah.
lucky with what I rolled, matching my bonuses.
Okay. As you sort of sneak along, keeping to the shadows and the crevices, going as quick as you can. You know, not your full speed because you're trying to be a little sneaky, but are moving along. You start to hear like a digging sound, and a cave that looks like it was partially collapsed. It's kind of dug open by what looks like monstrous claws of bone. And you just see the claws kind of pull out of the cave, and something that is clearly like at least a little too big to get through this opening is like in there, and you can just kind of see yellow eyes, like as big around as May is tall, looking from in there, flicking side to side. A skull with strange bat wings flaps down. It looks like it's going after something you can't see. One thing I think May has been doing, and correct me if you think this is wrong, has been like casually trying to be like, what is death about? Like, just kind of like trying to figure it out in the background, you know, always turning over problems. I think May realizes that, like, this is the realm of souls. This is a realm of people passing on. And you haven't seen a single soul that's not you or the others. But you have seen a lot of, like, creatures seemingly fighting over something, or, like, attacking the air or something like that. And I think you've kind of put together of like, oh, they're here, I just can't see them. So this bat skull swoops down at something you can't see, and then the cave rumbles, and a miasma of purple and green smoke hanging low to the ground flows out of it, and this bat like disintegrates in it, and you hear screams and crying of pain as if from a great distance. long tongue rolls out of the cave, flopping like an octopus arm, like it's got a mind of its own, and seems to touch and then explore and then grab something you can't see and pull it into the cave as it feasts on a soul.
Yeah,
And
May's like,
claws
none of my
disappear,
business.
and it goes in, and May, beating the 19 perception check this creature has, May goes, "Yep, all right," just
Yeah.
kind of going up and around.
Jesus. May's like, yeah, I don't understand why necromancers are so afraid of death. Gross.
Yeah. May is finally like, was this a bad idea? Was coming here a
No.
bad idea?
No. She just knows why other people are afraid.
They don't have May's guns and great tits.
They sure don't.
Then you eventually reach the second shrine, a place you can rest for a little bit and be safe. And now let me check in with Mooney. It has now been probably about 45 minutes at this point that Cal has been awake and being tugged by Fish's connection. Is Cal still waiting here, or has she set off?
Cal would have given, nap time for the idea of anybody who is close enough to catch up, and use too much of her limited protection time. So yeah, no, she would have headed off to go follow Fish's tether.
So May arrives here and finds nothing.
Can we do an arcana for traces of Cal or something? Like, just to see that she made it here safe and the Bargus didn't get her?
Do an arcana or perception check. They'll give you different information.
That's going to be a perception check. That was a 16.
Okay. With a 16, you go, all right. There is the sanctuary, which I can see accurately. I know that. It's kind of under the foot of the giant statue of jackal-headed Set that is dripping blood from its mouth. But this pool of blood over here is a little, like, out of the way. Obviously, that wouldn't be part of that blood. So then, and you kind of, like, tuck into a corner, and you're like, oh, there's, like, a crevice here. And there's kind of like a depression in the ground, and you're like, someone was resting here. With that perception check, you don't know that it was Cal, but considering that you saw
It's a crevice.
Fish go,
Come on.
you saw Fish go down a hole, and you saw the others go off in a different direction, you're like, this is either Cal or like there's a human-sized monster, and a human-sized monster couldn't be in the sanctuary, so it's probably Cal. You're not like definitely 100% sure. She rested here and then she set off to the south west. You are like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, cool. May, ever the optimist, is going to assume that it was Cal. Thank goodness. Probably healed herself up and is done. May is going to take the opportunity to use Second Wind to a little bit more of her hit points, which would be really helpful. Okay, 7. Not bad at all. And then she's going to maybe do another perception check and set off. Maybe stealth roll.
Okay. I would say choose. A stealth roll means that you're less likely to run into something, but you're going a little slower, while a perception check will be like, really trying to find the most advantageous route, the easiest way to get through, which will save you time, but may be more dangerous.
Yeah, perception. Then, because I'm likely to get a better roll anyway.
I mean, you have advantage on stealth. Okay.
Yeah, but my stealth bonus isn't great. That is a 19. Wait.
Okay.
Hang on, no, that's wrong. Dirty 22.
Okay, dirty 22. And I also need Cal to roll a stealth check for her little trip across the wastes.
She rolls so well that May doesn't even see her until she's like bumping into her on the way.
You're muted.
What am I rolling?
Stealth.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
is
not
Pass
bad.
Is Pass Without Trace still active on May?
Ew.
Or is it too long now? Yeah, I
No,
thought so.
it's been lost a long time ago.
Yeah.
It would have, even if she hadn't lost it during the fight, it would have timed out.
Yeah.
22.
Okay, 22. Let us roll. What is May's stealth bonus?
Oh, it's like +1. Give me a sec. I'll double check that. Yeah, +1.
Okay, so you have a passive stealth of 11. Let's see if 11 beats these rolls.
May doesn't believe in sneaking about as a rule. She'd much rather shoot her problems than hide from them, generically speaking.
Okay. Cal has to backtrack a couple times, go around. You run into big crevasses, a large... It almost seems like a tar pit, but what's bubbling up is necromantic energy rather than a liquid. And there is clearly like an ecosystem here of things feasting on each other that you kind of need to avoid. So your route ends up being not very direct, but you do get through without anything jumping out at you and getting you. May, on the other hand, takes a more efficient route, able to figure out what the most optimal route is through this place, and therefore catches up a fair amount of time, is not as far behind you as she once was. But let me get my stuff.
Cool.
Just gonna
Always with the stuff.
Always with
pull
the
out-
stuff.
Just gonna pull out my monster manuals. Just gonna make sure I got stat blocks for these things.
Oh dear.
I'm just saying, Patrick, you could have just not had this happen. Like, I am just going to put it out there.
Is that not true of the entire story? I could have just not let this happen.
Within reason, yeah.
I will say he is being nice to us by being like, Fish pops out and finds the MacGuffin, and now just has to be like,
Yeah.
yo guys, I got the MacGuffin.
That's a MacGuffin! Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. As you are heading around, you end up in... It looks almost like a petrified forest in a way. There is a number of stalagmites growing up in almost tree-like shapes. Very like whatever the mountains in China that are the visual basis for Kung Fu Panda are, the needle spires. A lot of a micro version of that, and something is flitting around in there, and you know that if you have to not go through here, you're gonna have to eat up a lot of time because there's a mountain you got to go around. So you're careful. You stay to the edges, but you try to work your way through, and unfortunately these things notice you. Give me a perception check, and then we will roll a quick initiative.
19.
Okay. With a 19, what you are seeing flitting and fluttering around this little canyon is kind of like, it looks and moves like insectile in a way, like some sort of swarm, almost like moths, kind of. But as you're carefully moving through, one alights um, on a stalagmite right next to you, and you see that it is, in fact, a little like, how do I describe this?
With
It
Brenda Plum.
it looks like a it looks like a piece of paper, almost like a scrap of parchment.
Does it look
But with
like the
little
papers in Spirited Away that are enchanted?
No. But it has what you can only describe as like little legs coming out of it that are like scorpion stingers. It doesn't
Mm.
seem to have a face or anything. You can see it kind of flying by, like folding in half and running away, and attacking or grabbing onto things by like wrapping itself around things. And you, with a 19, can assume that it is poisonous with those stingers, and you now need to roll initiative as this thing flutters away from you, and the whole swarm starts to descend on you.
Okay. And... No, I could have sworn that I... Sorry, give me a sec. Hell yeah,
think
I get
we will-
advantage on initiative rolls.
We will very quickly. No, I don't think we will duck into Owlbear.
Fantastic. That's a 12.
Okay, with a dirty 20, the Greater Death Butterfly Swarm goes first. The swarm starts to coalesce around you, and as you try to move away, you realize it's kind of surrounded you from all directions. You turn around and there's a bunch in front. You juke to the side and there's a bunch in front of you. They're coming around on you to get you. And I need you to make a dexterity saving throw. DC 13.
Yeah, give me a sec. That is a dirty 20.
A dirty 20 again. Okay, excellent. This is difficult terrain as you are having to fight your way through the swarm, but as the creatures land on you, wrap up a hand, wrap up a shoulder, wrap up an ear, you can kind of like shake them off, dodge out of the way, and kind of just windmill your arms to keep them from fully landing on you and like encapsulating you.
Mm.
And it is going to take its bite attack on you, or sting attack rather.
Mm.
That hits with a 23 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite clips, ink, and that is potentially undoing all of your health gain. 21 points of piercing damage as it stabs you. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, DC 15.
Hang on. That's a 17.
Okay.
And
with
also, I get to do some damage because of my armor.
Mhm. With a 17, you only take... you take 9 points of poison damage and are not poisoned.
Cool. Cool.
Cool, cool, cool.
I'm having the time of my life. Okay. Can they just disengage and fucking run for it?
Absolutely, you can. Your speed is halved for while you are encapsulated in the swarm, but you can just break and run. What is the... how much damage does the swarm take?
3.
How much?
3.
Okay. 3 damage. Cool.
Disengaging is an action, isn't it?
Okay. Hi, boy. You use your action to disengage, and then you just run.
Yep.
Okay. You run, get the hell out of there. The swarm is still continuing to follow you. It is going to get one more attack before you are like out of its territory.
Cool.
Because it has a speed of 40.
Yeah. Of course it does.
All right, once again. Ooh, lucky. That is a 9 to hit, totally misses. May is able to duck out of the way, get out of this little territory, and as you leave this petrified forest behind, the weird little parchment insect death creatures flutter back and leave you alone. As you face the new monster! Ah! He snuck in here. As you hurry along, you cut out all of this time. You're able to move a lot faster. You feel yourself getting closer, the tug getting stronger. And as you crest a hill, you can see just a disappearing piece of movement in front of you, and then a slight glow of a sanctuary. It looks like somebody got here before you, although you don't see who it is.
Time for a perception check, mayhaps? See if I can beat Cal's natural 40. 18.
With an 18, unless people got really, really high stealth, you don't think it's a group. It might just be one.
Cool. May's gonna risk it.
Doesn't mean it's Cal. Could be a monster. But you can approach this last sanctuary, and it is there that you find a fish sitting up, maybe being like, took you long enough. Cal,
Hey, bitch!
and about 40 feet behind, May, coming out of a canyon.
You go. May just going into the sanctuary.
Okay. You hustle in. And Cal, May, and Fish are reunited in this sanctuary, festooned with little dangling badges.
Okay. When Cal comes in, it's like, oh my god, I was so worried about you. Are you okay? One collisionist slips out. Denier returns very shortly, and then May shows up and, hey, bitch, how's it going?
Collisionist, like, I guess can't push her hair back. She'll push her veil back and is like, "Were you both all right? I told Kakano to find you. I'm surprised he's not here again."
Oh, he's having adventures out in the living realm. Don't worry about it. He's he's burglarizing, trying to get to our bodies. Stuff like that.
Speaking
Glad
of which,
he's-
we were going to say that during this short rest, this meditation time, Fish was checking in on Kekino. So once we finish this scene, I can tell you some things that actually happened.
Okay. Well, Kel says, I'm glad he'll be keeping Jamal and Beliala safe then. I was fine. What does that mean?
You're right.
Fish, do you know something?
Know a lot of things. Tell us about your adventure.
No, there was no adventure. I just got out of there as fast as I could, figuring that you two had the safety nets of your abilities and your remembering she wasn't supposed to she didn't get May's permission to say anything, but also being like, I mean, you're gonna have to obviously the jig is out. I'm just being like, your deal. Do either of them look like May looks like I just got in a scrap kind of thing? Like they look fine.
He has a giant throat.
Oh yeah, she still has that. No,
Yeah.
that didn't get healed up. Okay. So I think Cal was like, yeah, and then like looked at that and was like, what happened? Wasn't he supposed to keep you from that happening?
Well, I'm still alive, aren't I?
What did you give him in exchange? Hopefully it was basic knowledge that he should have already known, because that's not a very good deal.
Bigger issues at hand. It rather seems that the Bargus is after a test of some sort, collisionist.
Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, it seems the Bargus is so intent on pursuing you as a test of some kind.
Yes, it did seem far more interested in me than either of you.
Yes.
I can't speak to it, except, and she would have already mentioned, like, the furry hands. Some guy in a fursuit tried to kill me. No, she was like, I don't know, I can't remember. Figuring out that Tidinus didn't have control of it, that was a conversation we've had, right?
I believe so. That's what I remember.
Alright.
Yeah.
So she's like, I mean, no, I don't exactly have a lot of allies in the necromancer world, but I can't imagine somebody ordering my death. Unless, I can't imagine Pagan is involved in all of this. It seems a little too hands-on for her. Getting her hands very dirty. No,
Sorry,
if it's not into this.
And her
Jonas did
first name
say
was?
explicitly
You're
to
pagan.
May, it's a test, right? Like, I'm not misremembering that. That was explicitly what Jonas said to me.
He did not say explicitly it is a test, but he was like, I wanted Cal to be in a bad way to potentially overcome that rather than having it easy. And then something about being like, it testing your allies or testing your tools being good. Like, it was heavily implied that it
Yeah.
was a test, but not totally explicit.
Yeah, and it may be like, either way, I rolled involved. I also had a run-in with Sister Tail.
Is she all right?
She's well. Her and Anne Harkin are eager to do away with Tinnitus if at all possible, which I think we can all agree would be a win-win. I advise her perhaps to hold off until we were all in the same place, rather than her and Anne Harkin attempt to take him on by themselves.
Which is here, by the way. Get ready.
The problem is that if either she or Anne Harkin emerge and does not, Sister Ross is apparently on standby, ready to shuffle them back off this mortal coil, which brings me to you. Perhaps deal with that.
Sorry, you're cutting out again. Shuffling off this mortar coil, which brings me to, and then you cut.
Which brings me to you, Fish. Is there perhaps some way that you could make sure that Sister Ross is in no position?
Yeah. Look, they're kind of busy out there right now. I'll check in with Kakano, see how that's doing. If we even know where Oz is right now. I feel like I could leave and take care of it myself. Okay, but before we do anything else, guys, can you just please each take a thing from the wall?
Okay, I'll take one.
Sure. May takes one.
Congratulations, everybody! And they hold it out like everyone's gonna do a group high five with them. And it's like we did it. We're all high clerics of the library.
No, you have to get out.
We did it, gang! Looking back at the 17 miles you still have to go to get out.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, but Denier, if I'm going to take this tag and put it in the thing, and then I will be at least officially a necromancer, and Cleric Snapper is real, and I will outrank Tractate unless you promote him.
Carol's thinking in her head, and she's like, "Oh, I did leave you in charge. Ugh. Oh no." No, and this would be usually considered.
I tried to promote him. I was like, "Hey man, do you want to be a cleric?" And he was like, "No." So he didn't want it. He didn't want it from me, only from you.
No, I mean, depending on his work, I can see what I can do. This definitely would be considered.
Fish being like, yeah, there was a conversation. Fish was like, I'm gonna promote you, and Jamal going, you don't actually have that power because you're not a cleric. And then being like, Jamal doesn't want to get promoted if it's not by anyone but Cal. Being like, that makes such a fucked up sense to only Fish.
Truly, sometimes I like pancakes. So you hate waffles?
Yeah. Okay,
no.
but Fish is like, right, so do you want me to get out of here and go deal with Oz, and you guys hold down the fort and kill Tinnitus?
Killing Tinnitus is not at the top of my list.
Okay, it's probably at the top of his for you, though.
Oh, undoubtedly. But that doesn't mean I need to kill him.
Perhaps I didn't make myself clear. You're also on that list, Collisionus, for people to be dealt with.
Yes.
Post-test.
Obviously.
Imminently by Oz.
It would be some very bad bookkeeping to list Tail and Harkin and not me. No, I understand, but I don't think that it is wise to launch ourselves full out on trying to kill him.
Okay, then
May
take-
turns to
take
Fish
your
and is like, well, someone needs to deal with Austin. Either way.
Okay, well, you guys take your tags and you go back to the first shrine, and I'll wake up and I'll take care of Oz.
Cal is
By
going
the way,
to
do you like my
say,
new fingers? They came back when I healed myself while I was here. I was short
Cal's-
resting.
Cal's about to be like, so with the Oz, you'll have to. And Cal looks at them and she goes, oh, good. I did notice that they cut off my fingers, and I found that incredibly rude. I'm glad they're back.
Yeah, don't worry. They're still yours. Unless I could go pick up the. You know what? They probably ceased to exist because I'm not really here. Anyway,
No, that's a good thing. Also, as a reminder, Ellie, May has no idea what this conversation is about.
Yeah, I was actually going to have
No
May roll
point in
insight
canon.
because, like, I feel like there's an undertone now and then.
Yeah,
That
no
May would be
point in
interested.
canon has May asked any questions that only happened in Poolfic.
Yeah. Disappointing. It was a 10. May's like, they're great friends! Isn't this lovely that they're getting along?
we're
I'm sure
both
there's
invested
nothing
in
to
the health
unpack.
of Fish's hands.
Yeah, there's nothing to unpack here about all this fingers, nature, the ing suffix that could be to that. Totally normal conversation.
Yeah, actually, Cal's encouraging Fish getting to finger someone else. She's really come along on sex positivity.
Yeah, amazing. I think it's while they're fucking shit talking, May is just kind of sitting down, catching her breath.
Cal is going to say, Sister Oz cannot be charmed, she cannot be convinced, she cannot be bribed, and killing her would put you at immediate risk and would mean that you could not return back to us.
What if she were to be linked to the death of your tether? Wouldn't that be unfortunate?
We failed the trial that we were innocent in.
Oh, she wasn't part of that trial.
Sometimes the Cal line comes to me so instantly.
You guys remember we didn't actually commit the crime we were accused of, right?
Yeah, to which
I
May's
remember
response
that.
would be, well, they seem to take the death of their own quite seriously. I imagine to it. And if Oz were to somehow be implicated, detained, I imagine, would be a natural.
I do not believe we have any chance of successfully framing Oz for murder, but if they took it concerningly seriously when I mentioned Tinnitus and Tail as being at potential blame for the killing of the other clerics. So I would say, Fish, if you think you can use your time in the living realm to implicate her and at least get her locked away, perhaps mention that
Temporarily.
you've heard that there is more murders to come. Maybe mention the more murders of their people, because Saints knows
Well-
they do not even remotely care if I die.
Maybe if I go back, Reg will be awake and she can finally clear the whole thing up.
That would also be nice.
Well,
All right, so I'll go back.
all right. Is there anything you need from us?
Please take this and do it for me.
She takes a second pass and wouldn't be like, so I'm supposed to negotiate on your behalf that you had it and skipping out on the finish
No,
line.
it'll know. It's magically mine.
Oh,
I promise.
uh-huh. I see.
May
I'll
leans over
carry
to
it
Cal.
for you.
Wouldn't it be funny if we left?
This is so funny that it's genuinely like someone who's like, okay, I started the marathon. I ran the first mile. I left. I got lunch. I jumped in a car. I drove to the end of the marathon.
Yeah.
I got out and I crossed the finish line. And it's like, are you trying to like hide that so that you pretend that you passed? No, no, no. I did all those things. But the rules said you just had to pass the finish line. It didn't say anything else. It's like, that's not what the rules say. What the fuck are
There
you
is no
talking about?
rule that dogs can't play basketball, okay?
Yeah.
This
What the
is
fuck
like-
are you talking about?
It's what necromancers are all about. Think smarter, not harder. And Cal's like, no, we're not all about that.
You are, though, but you are. Yeah.
And
Sometimes
This
I
is
feel
me.
like I understand your people better than you do, Daniel.
Well, I hope to see how you use that as a cleric.
Yeah,
Turns
well,
to me. Go ahead.
while I'm still in charge, I'm gonna make use of that.
You don't want to be a cleric, do you, to me?
So as a player, is it not worth trying to take it back with them, and then they can be like, "Hey, I'm a."
You could-
We lost you for a sec.
you could
but
try,
we know
but-
what you said.
Yeah, you could try, but you don't think like mechanistically there's any way for that to happen.
Okay, it would make things a lot easier. That's all.
This is to put this in like perspective. This is like I have mastered the power of astral projection, and I will astral project myself. And ooh, there's a lot of good food here. My astral self would eat it, and now I go back to my body. Why am I not full?
Yeah,
being
okay.
like,
That's worth
being like,
asking.
yeah, it's not. It doesn't transfer.
Yeah, okay. And to answer Cal's question, May's response is, "Do I look like I belong in a temple, religionist?"
That one doesn't.
Honestly, if we're already lowering the bar that far, yeah, kinda.
I don't know. Maybe they're going to start making a hedonistic party temple, and you want to be a part of that.
Ugh.
May the only
Necromancer hedonistic
temple
party temple.
May the only temple you belong in is the one where you're at the top. I believe in you.
May's like, okay.
I think Center would look cute in the robes.
No, Cal is like, you already have a worship party. Don't get greedy.
Mm. In any case, Tinnitus and Hislot are, I imagine, fast approaching. Perhaps we should hurry back.
Okay. Fish, no, don't resist this, just let it happen. Fish scoops their arms around both necks of Cal and May and like pulls them in for like a hug and like goes, we've got a lot to catch up on as soon as we make it out of this. Don't make a big deal out of it. I love you guys. Good luck. Goodbye. And then
Before they
ceases
just
to exist.
when they're doing that, she'll be like, "Tell Jamal, I'm still alive."
Yeah. No, I'll tell him
They
you're
just-
dead. Then he'll be really relieved when you get back.
He will have a
I'm-
heart. You will give him a stroke. I already
This
can tell
seems-
his blood pressure
Yeah,
is not
I've
good.
tried. Okay, I've tried.
This scene is
Hello,
probably not
goodbye.
gonna happen. This scene is probably not gonna happen, but I'm just imagining Jamal being like, "I knew you were still alive. I would feel it if you died." And Cal just goes, "That's not how that works." That's not.
Just factually being
wh-
like, no, actually, my connection to Elise was completely severed by her being around the death, so you wouldn't have known.
When Fish disappears, May looks at Cal and is like, "A lot to catch up on. That sounds ominous."
It could just be what kind of weird rocks they saw. I'm choosing to be optimistic.
I love this new look on you, Killigenous. Optimism
It
suits
really
you.
only applies to the facing the daunting idea of having to have prolonged conversations with fish.
We could just leave that little stone here.
No, No! May! Unnecessarily cruel. Funny, but too cruel.
It would be funny, but yes, you're right. It would also be cruel. I'm not about to begin the trek back.
Cal, like, carefully tucks them into her robes.
All right. As you're having this conversation, you are kind of like, Fish's badge is a lot heavier than mine. Maybe like it doesn't recognize me as the true owner or something.
Chosen
That's
one.
weird. But I guess. Give me an Arcana check, one or both of you. May would have disadvantage.
Oh my god,
Just like I'll
Elliot.
do it.
Do you want disadvantage with your
No
like, what,
way.
like +4?
+4 is really generous of you. That's really lovely and cute that you think it's a +4. Oh, it is a +4. Never mind.
Is you? Can I get advantage from May if Ellie's not rolling?
Yeah, that's way more useful.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Thank you. Oh, much better. Woo! much
Like
better.
a 30-30?
That's a 29.
Okay.
Originally it was
I
a
wasn't too
15, so
far.
thank God.
Yeah.
15 still is pretty good, but yeah, not as good as your 29.
Yeah, I know.
With your 29, both you and May feel this like a little bit of a tug. Like the badge you picked up is acting like a lodestone leading you back to the entrance. Like, you don't have fish to anchor you. We don't have fish to anchor you, but you still have kind of like a tracking way to get back. But the big thing you realize with a 29 is Cal has journeyed across these lands, done a big trip, and is hopeful that she will succeed and be able to get back. And realizing that that's not going to happen because she has about 2 minutes left on her protection and several hours of travel left. May has a little bit more in about 35 minutes.
I'm gonna shoot some fucking bats down. Yeah, try to snipe these bastards.
And as you are realizing that you are sort of out of time,
But we're in a
Going-
shrine, right? So we're not
You're-
actually going down right now.
safe right now.
Yeah.
But you have a long way to go out of the shrine to get back to safety, and you will be suffering the entire way. And there is a cat laying across all of my dice and playing with them. And it is at this moment that the first shadow spear appears from behind the rocks.
Jesus fuck.
Let us roll initiative.
I'll wait for Patrick to say next time on Well Dressed Bones.
Maybe
can't.
it'll be right after. Let's roll initiative.
Yeah. Natural 20. I love having
Damn
advantage
it.
in my rolls.
I got a 6.
And don't forget, they can't be surprised. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, not a surprise round. Okay. Nat 20 for a total of what? 21?
Yeah.
Cal with a 6.
Does having a natural, like a nat 20, do anything extra in initiative?
No.
No,
No.
it does not. Technically, for any ability check, which rolling for initiative is technically an ability check, but any
Hmm.
ability check, Arcana, Survival, Intelligence, anything like that, nat 20 doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Most people homebrew similar to I do, where it's like
Hmm.
a little extra push to honor the success. Some people do the full like nat 20 automatically succeeds, and I'm like, unfortunately, I think that's dumb because you've got a, all things considered, fairly high chance to do things that are actually impossible. So it gives you a boost.
Yeah, I thought it was just
It
the
doesn't-
best outcome, usually. Isn't that like possible outcome, I mean, which does
Yeah.
not include success, yeah.
Yeah. So it gives you a boost. It does not erase everything.
Also, it depends on the DM. If you're doing an opposed check, if it actually gives you any sort of boost. Most DMs I see tend to be like, hey, for a total of, and not really give it that much extra.
Yeah, the way I actually do it mathematically is if you get a nat 20, I add +3 to whatever your final total is. So if you got a 23, it's a 26. And a nat 1 on something that doesn't have like a critical failure condition, it's -3, which often can mean that you can get like a -2 on a roll functionally, which is a critical failure. But yes, that is a 21 for May, a 6 for Cal. Some of my dice are rolling around the ground, so I guess I'll grab some new ones. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. That is a 14 for Tinnitus. And that is a nat 1 for a total of 2 for Tail and Harkin.
How convenient.
Yeah.
Loving this vision of like Tinnis being like, haha, I'm gonna get the like
They're like, we're gonna get them, and they're like, yeah, we're right behind you.
So no, my robe, it's caught.
Yeah, we're right behind you. Not doing anything though.
Yeah.
Yes, and because there is a time dilation effect in this in the realm of death, and you've decided that Fish is ducking out, we are actually going to end with what's going on with Fish, and we will start next session with combat, because Fish will have the ability to do some things and then potentially help you from the other side, depending on what's going on. So, with with Fish choosing to unplug, you realize that this is permanent to an extent. You won't be able to get back here, at least not for a while, if you pull away from them now. You do anyway, focusing on your body and Kekino to help you find your way back to where you're supposed to be. And as you settle into your body, feel yourself waking up, flutter open your eyes, you hear alarms and a lot of yelling, sounds of fighting. The guard that was unconscious is not there any longer. So you think some time has passed. There's like a little blood smear on the ground. But there is no guard in the room right now. The cell is relocked. Nobody is really paying attention to you. Nobody's in here. But clearly enough time has passed for them to find the guy, see you, taking a nap or whatever they interpret it as in your cell, relocking it, going to deal with the emergencies. You can look in the mirror and see Callan May speaking for just a moment, holding up your badge. Maybe hear a joke or two about leaving it behind, and then you are up and at 'em. As you are trying to figure out how to get back out of your cell, um, the you feel Kekano nearby, and you hear a little hip, hip, as the door clicks open and like swings in. Kekano hanging from the handle, his little flippers off the ground as it's so high up. Kekano is
Hey,
Kekano is wearing what could only be described as a medieval suit of armor with a full helmet, made, from what you can tell, entirely from paper. And he jumps down and goes, "Hey, Dad!"
hey, Kikano. I love the suit. Can you get me out of here?
Thank you. Yes. I have the key. Hold on. I'm a key house. Okay, let's just get it over here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the light's pretty
here,
high. Why
bud, I'll
don't I
just
give it
take
to
it.
you? Yep.
No, I'll just
Okay,
take
here
it,
you
bud.
go.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Okay.
You,
Well, you look like you've been having fun.
yeah, I've been having some adventures. I've been talking to the book house, and it was letting me through to look at some books, and then Beliala was stabbing some people, and Jamal was reading a lot and making some like paper stuff, and then that brings us to now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess first things first is do you know where the big scary necromancer lady is?
Which one?
The big one. The Tinnitus's friend. His only
Oh,
friend.
Tinnitus is friend. I was gonna say that a lot of them are big to me. I'm a little
Uh,
small.
especially large. Especially
Okay.
large.
Yes. I I saw her when I first left, but I haven't seen her since then. She was in the hallway, watching a mirror thing with a couple of other of the people. But yeah, she wasn't there when I just came back through. So I guess let's go look for her. I can ask the book house.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can, please. And in the meanwhile, Fish flashes on Eldritch Sight to be scanning for anything and everything, and also who has a remnant in them as
Okay.
well.
As you get out and open the door into the hallway, you see a scene of absolute chaos. There are holes in the wall from shadow spears. There are big chunks of masonry and bones that have been ripped out. And clerics running to and fro, some of them like bruised, like injured, as if there's been fights, as an alarm continually blares. You have the choice of like, trying to grab someone and being like, what the fuck is going on? Or just like use the chaos, go out. You can try and check on where Callan May's bodies are. You can try and check on the infirmary, investigate the deaths. You can try and find cleric offs. Up to you.
Okay. I gotta say, like Fish should check on Mancal's bodies to make sure that they're secured. But the current thought is like, and now I'm going to kill the big lady. So yeah, go find Oz. We're finding Oz.
Okay. Give me an investigation check. And Kekino can give you advantage by being like, I think I saw her down that way, and a bunch of people were yelling and screaming that way, so maybe that was it. Oh, and Baliola went over here, and that was fun. She's fun. She's good at hide and seek, which is, I think an underrated skill.
Mm-hmm. Her magic does that. I'm using advantage. And also, if we happen to like pass by the morgue, just, maybe sneaking in to be like, all right, what are the signs of that you were murdered? And, find Rag and such.
Mhm.
Nat 20. Thanks, Kekano.
Well,
On
Nat 20 will definitely get you
investigation.
both of those things.
Okay, hold on. Let me tell you what I'm adding there.
Mm-hmm.
24.
Okay, 24. With a 24, you duck out into the hallway. You're sweeping everything with Eldritch Sight. You're a cat who is for some reason trying to grab my bag of nuts, and um, and as um, as you head on into the hallway and you're kind of following the chaos, keeping an eye out for where people are running to and from, and sweeping over everything with the Eldritch Sight. Kekino runs out of the room where you were in, and the seal hitting the plexiglass and like squishing the entire face in does that into a wall right in a big pile of bones. And then as he comes back out, you see in your Eldritch Sight flicker of magic through the bones as Sanchez as the library answers, and it is guiding you to where you want to go. As you look people over, you do see that there is a couple of people who are infected with gray remnants. Don't really have time for them right now, but they're, running around, going to and fro. And as you round a corner, something kind of like whips up and by you, and for just a moment, you see a free floating actual remnant. Not in any. Uh, Not for any with any host, just free flying. Maybe it left a host recently. One of the two that escaped potentially. Maybe more have escaped in this by this time. Boy, don't fall. I don't want to have to save you. And as you're running, you swing by this like attached infirmary and like preparation room for the dead. The door to the infirmary is securely closed and locked. Stop trying to fucking knock things over. And But the morgue is not, seemingly unattended. You swing in, and with Kekino riding in your arms, a little uncomfortable from the armor kind of digging in weird places as you're holding him. And you see under his sheet the bodies of the two clerics. Take a look. You saw the Barghest attack people. It's big old staff with this big old decapitating ring. Obviously likes to cut heads off, if not other body parts. These look like they were struck. At a very quick examination, because you're not trying to take a lot of time, very quick examination, both of them look like they died from injuries in which a blow like caved in part of their body, and then spikes went in afterwards. Something like a spiked gauntlet or something like that. It is similar enough to some of the injuries that they obtained fighting the remnants, that you could see somebody uninformed being like, yes, they died of their injuries fighting the remnants. You know for a fact that these were not here when these people were recovered. Sometime between getting the like 20-30 minutes between getting led upstairs in handcuffs and the start of and the information and being told that they had died was when they were seemingly assassinated.
Yep.
As you run out further into the temple, in amongst the chaos, you leave the living quarters behind and into the library proper. People are running around. It seems like the library itself is maybe fighting something. Every once in a while you can see a cleric like running and then a skeleton hand reach out and grab it and like pull it off balance. Like not necessarily like hurting people, but like tripping people, stopping people. And as you emerge and you see Cleric Oss duck behind a reading table in the big main library, Beliala on like Doc Ock style magic shadow tendrils just like descends next to you like a spider and goes, "Hello."
Hey, Jada, how you doing?
I'm doing decently, I think. A lot of fighting.
Injured?
Yes.
Bad?
No.
Well, cantrip told the dead anyway. Or like, no, Withering Bloom, just to heal her up. Because
Okay.
it doesn't cost anything, and so it's just like, here you go, just have that piece of skin back.
A bunch of,
where
scrapes just heal off of her. Some bleeding stops, and she goes, "Thank you."
I got you back. Oh, I was just about to ask that to you. So obviously, neither of us know.
Last I saw him, he and Kekino were attempting to enter the Forbidden Archive. Jamal may have succeeded. Kekino, does that sound true to you? You talking about the door we went through before? Yeah.
Oh, you got it. You got in there.
Yeah, I asked the house, really nice, and said, "Hey, Colliginous is really in trouble, and May is really in trouble, and they're talking about like murders, and you know how like these were your people and you liked them, but it wasn't them that murdered, and you know that. So you gotta help me help find them who murdered the murdered people."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the library's on that side. Okay. Did he say he was going to go for the nasty wolf bear dog book?
He didn't say anything about the nasty bad wolf dog book. He was out here and he was reading a bunch of stuff, and I got kind of bored, and I started using my crayons in the margins of a book a little bit. I know Colliginous thinks that's bad, but it was
Fish is
really
not
boring,
listening.
and it didn't have pictures.
They're looking up at the ceiling and like you're thinking of the remnants and being like, what if he got possessed and now they've used him to get into there to get something? I don't know. It's just a hunch. They've never liked Jamal anyway.
Yeah.
Time
to kill Jamal.
It's like shit. Okay, fuck. Oss is over there somewhere. How injured is she? Perhaps.
Oss?
Yeah. Can I tell that?
She looks a little beat up. You can't see from this far away any like serious injuries. You could do a medicine check once you get like closer. But it looks like she's been kind of uninvolved in whatever chaos has been happening. Which getting the really quick version from Beliala is that Beliala started investigating the murders and protecting Cal and May. Was chased off by the clerics who discovered her. She tried to help Jamal and tail Oss and protect everyone, which kind of spread her a little too thin. She's been in kind of a running fight with first the clerics in the library, and then her and the library versus the clerics for the past few hours. Just kind of like disappearing and hit and running, ambushing them, and hasn't killed any because she doesn't think Caligulus would like that, but has been like beating them up and escaping.
Okay.
Meanwhile, as far as you can tell, Jamal and Kekino had a little adventure where Jamal did a bunch of research and then figured out how to get into the hidden archive with Beliala's help, and disappeared down there while Kekino went to get you.
Okay. So, Fish says to Beliala and Kekino in their arms, just go along with what I'm saying, and we'll make this work. And Fish sprints up to Oss like, oh, Oss, hi, I'm Fish. We haven't actually officially met. Okay, there's a lot to fill you in on, but in the Death Realm, we met up with Tinnitus and we've like come up with a deal. And so your orders are to help me, and then we help you get the book that you want. Basically, it's just like, hi, come work for me now.
Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Disadvantage. Disadvantage. Oh, fine.
I feel like I'm looking at my cat and being like, "What do you got in your mouth?"
But like, okay. Sorry.
Now comes the bargaining phase.
Patrick, I've been having a lot of problems in my life recently. And
Instead of the luck coin, you're using your like, please. I'm a birthday
I'm
boy.
I'm a little birthday boy. I'm a little birthday boy. And last time the plan to potentially destroy the Vargas via Hull was so cool, and that didn't work. And now I've got a great cool plan, and that's not going to work because of Nat 1. Cool. Just can
What
I
was the
say
other?
that
What was the other die that you rolled?
10.
Kekino cancels out disadvantage, we'll say, and so we'll go with your 10.
Thank you. You don't have to get me anything for my birthday. That's it. Thank you. And so this is like the thank you. Hey Ellie, like that's the kind of bargaining power that you need, isn't it?
Yes, you need to beg.
You need to be a pathetic little meow meow who can't drink Pepsi anymore.
Yeah.
We lost our fucking sponsor. Patrick, we lost our
We lost our
sponsorship.
sponsorship. I know. It's sad. We're gonna have to be sponsored by like MeUndies or something. Oh.
I can't drink that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sponsored by the concept of drinking water.
Here's the thing. I feel bad for manipulating you into letting me have this, but not bad enough to not take it. That's a 14.
Yeah, okay. With a 14, Oss seems very confused, but isn't quite ready to like attack you yet. She stands up from behind the table and is clearly like on the ready, and you're probably like, yeah, follow me, and just like turn around and walk away. um, as you turn around, like Beliala isn't there anymore. Just kind of disappeared.
That's okay.
As you're trying to lead her in, and um, as you get back to the sort of living area, you say, she says, "So what have I been ordered to help with?"
All right. Us, Abbot Tinnitus says, you help that we're going together into the archive. I get my friend Tractate and the book that we want, and then you get to get the book that you want, and that's a truce, and we go our separate ways after that.
She looks at you, seems confused by what's happening and pretty suspicious, but like automatically raises up a hand to like shake it, kind of seemingly like without realizing what she's doing, just like an automatic response while she's processing. You look at her hands and see necromantic rings. Her necromantic object, series of rings on each hand, and little swirling shadow spikes coming out of them.
Fish looks at this and says, oh, by the way, he filled us in on the whole assassination thing, so next up we gotta go get Rag and do her next. You okay with that?
Give me an insight check.
19.
She looks confused and concerned and angry, drops into a fighting stance, puts her hands up, and says, "You lie. You lie to hurt the abbot. I am onto your trickery." Does
I do
not
not want to
seem
hurt.
to does not seem to have a memory of assassinating anyone, nor any plan to assassinate anyone. As you look at her deeply with Eldritch Sight and see not an infection by a remnant, but the traces of an infection that is now gone by a remnant. A black
Damn.
remnant.
Yeah.
And in confusion, in lack of memory, in being convinced that you are framing Abbot Tinnitus for an assassination, it is time to roll initiative.
That's fine. Totally fine with that. I'm happy with that fail. I just wanted the chance to try.
You did succeed in one way, in that you mostly got away from the battle situation of being like, there's a big open space and there's tons of clerics that are going to come after you as like mooks to interfere, and now it's like just you and her, and maybe Beliala is still here somewhere.
I much prefer that. Thank you for letting me have my win. But Fish is still trying to bargain their way out of this because classic Fish fashion. And it's like, oh hey, no, I'm not trying to help. I told you, I'm like here to help it. Like, Oz, calm down. Hey, I don't know what your first name is, but like, look at me, baby, calm down. No, she's freaking out.
The abbot would have told you my first name.
The abbot doesn't know your first name.
You lie. All right, that is a 8 for initiative for Oz.
12.
All right. And with that, we will have our simultaneous battle next time. Oh, also, message from Pepper. There you go.
Oh, it means lol in Japanese.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time on Well Dressed Bones.